What's up, YouTube? This video is about understable and overstable. I'm going to explain to you what those different words mean and what those different types of discs are best suited for out there on the course. So next time you're either reaching for a disc to throw a specific shot in a specific situation, or you're looking for a new disc to put in the bag to try out, you can make a little bit more informed decision on what you need and what role you're really trying to get out of your disc. You can pick the right disc for the right shot. So I'm going to be showing you guys and explaining the numbers on newer run Innova discs and other manufacturers. I'm also going to show you some discraft numbers, and I'll give you the basics on understable and overstable, as well as some basic release angles, hyzer, anhyzer, etc. So let's get started with the, just so we're all on the same page. We're going to consider, when we're talking about the way these discs are going to react to being thrown, we're going to assume we're talking about a right-handed backhand throw. Either a sidearm or a left-handed throw would change the spin on the disc, it would reverse it, so all the things we're talking about would basically be a mirror image. So just so we're all on the same page, we're talking about a right-handed backhand throw. Okay, so the numbers, you see them on the front of this new Innova disc, pretty much a newer run Innova disc. They do this now. Other manufacturers have started to do it as well. So I'll explain these numbers to you guys now. So it's 2301 for this AVR. I also have numbers written down for a Valkyrie, and the numbers written down for an Ape, which is an overstable, high-speed overstable distance driver. I don't have one here to show you, but it's just on the other end of the spectrum, so I wrote it out. So the first number there is just speed. 9 for the Valkyrie, 2 for the AVR, 13 for the Ape. 9's pretty fast, it's definitely a driver. 2 is really slow, definitely a putter. 13 is very, very fast, pretty much as fast as it gets. I think there's a couple of 14 speed discs out now, but 13 is about as fast as you need, as in my experience. So yeah, pretty self-explanatory, just the speed of the disc. That will also determine whether or not the disc is under or overstable, but we'll get into that a little bit later. The next number is glide. 4 for the Valkyrie, 3 for the AVR, and 5 for the Ape. That's also pretty self-explanatory. It's kind of how long the disc, likes to keep spinning and glide down the fairway, glide down away from you and give you some distance. So discs with high glide are great for beginners or really anyone trying to get distance because they just want to hang up in the air for longer and keep traveling, so that's good. 3 is pretty good for the AVR. 5 is really nice. Anything 3 and up is pretty good for glide. Anything underneath, 1 around a 2 or a 1 means that it doesn't have a lot of glide. You're more throwing it than making it fly. So those kind of discs have their purpose too, just so they're not gliding too far and they're a little more controllable. So all these discs have pretty good glide. Now the last two numbers on all these 3 examples are really what's determining the stability of the disc. The third number, -2 for the Valkyrie, 0 for the AVR and the Ape, is high speed turn. Right, so when we're throwing our disc backhand, as it's coming out of your hand, it comes out of your hand, you put some spin on it, right? It's going down, picking up speed. Right then, as it kind of reaches its natural speed, it should start turning to the right. Since it has a negative number in high-speed stability or high-speed turn, that means that when you throw it fast, it loses stability to go straight and finish to the left like it would normally do, and it starts turning to the right. Since the AVR and the Ape have a 0 there, that means they should not turn to the right. They're merely going to go straight, pretty straight the whole time that they're up to speed, and then as soon as they start to slow down, they'll finish to the left. Now the last number is low speed stability, or fade, and that is how strong the disc will finish to the left once it slows down. So for the Valkyrie, a 2, AVR 1, 8, 4. That means for the Valkyrie, even though once you get it up to speed, it should turn over, it should also have enough that if you give it enough air and you throw it well enough that it should come back at the end and finish back to the left. Excuse me. And the AVR having a 1 means it should just go mostly straight and finish soft to the left once it slows down, shouldn't real hook hard. And the Ape having a 4 means it's quite overstable. That means as soon as it loses speed at all, it's going to start coming in and diving out left hard. 4 is pretty hard for fade. That means it's a very overstable disc. If you have a 0 here, or I think there's even a couple discs that have a positive number here, that means that the disc is at least stable. It's not going to be an understable disc, at least not brand new, and that's another thing we're going to talk about eventually. But yeah, if it has a negative number, that means it's understable. So that's pretty simple. So what are these? Oh yeah, let me show you the Discraft numbers real quick before we move on. See, this is a Discraft Meteor. This one has a negative 0.5 with an arrow pointing to the right. They work on a scale of -3 to +3, I believe, is what they work with. So that means this disc is understable and wants to turn to the right. Since it has a negative number, this drone has a large positive number, 2.5, with an arrow to the left. It means that it wants to hook hard to the left. It's very stable, overstable disc. And then this force is the same thing. It's an overstable disc, technically 2, with an arrow pointing to the left. Now, so that's the numbers for Discraft. Not really talking about the glide or the speed or anything like that. Really just talking about the stability. So what are some of the main uses for these different types of discs out on the course? First, we're going to clarify a couple of things. Considering this to be a flat shot, where the opposite end of where you're gripping is called the wing. So this black portion here will be the wing. Considering that to be a flat shot, that means that if I tilt the wing down, it will be on a hyzer angle, meaning it'll cause the disc, if it's just a straight flying stable disc, doesn't really turn one way and doesn't really fade too hard the other way. If you throw it on a hyzer, it's going to go out and go to the left. And then the opposite is called an anhyzer. We actually release it high, kind of follow through low, and you got from left to right. So you can force a disc to go the opposite way of its natural flight and turn it over. So that's called an anhyzer shot when you release it this way. Now certain discs, if you release them like that and they're understable, they'll produce what's called a turnover shot, where it completely turns to the right and it never comes back. Turns to the right and just soars out to the right. Or if you throw it pretty flat and not too hard, it'll turn over a little bit, it'll turn a little bit, and then it'll come back to the left, producing kind of an S-curve kind of shot. So that's something you use an understable disc for. Another thing you use an understable disc for is that sometimes they're so understable you could just throw it flat and aim it out left a little bit, and it'll turn so hard to the right that you can get it to go from left to right, just kind of on its natural turn. You don't really have to give it the angle. What I like to do with understable discs most of the time is I'll throw them on a hyzer angle, right? So then rather than throwing it flat and having it turn to the right, I throw it on this hyzer angle, and the high speed turn causes it to pop up straight. This way it comes out of my hand. I like to throw on a hyzer. It feels more natural. It comes out of my hand, it pops up, maybe turns a little bit, it comes back, and you get more distance that way. And if you control the angle right, you can get it to go perfectly straight from point to point. So the main uses for an understable disc would be hyzer flip-up shots like we talked about. You throw it on a hyzer, it'll pop up and go straight, where you can throw it and control the angle to get it to turn over and come back, or turn over completely from left to right. So those are the main reasons. You can also use it for a roller shot, where you give it such a hard anhyzer angle that it actually lands on the ground and will roll down towards the basket, towards the target. A really awesome shot when you do it right, but they're kind of tricky. I don't throw a lot of rollers, but they're a very cool shot. The last thing would be for tailwind. If you're throwing with the wind, understable is better, because the wind is going to force it to kind of finish stronger to the left than it would without the wind. Okay, so then overstable discs. Overstable discs are really good for headwind, because the opposite is true about headwind and tailwind, where it'll actually make the disc less stable or more understable. So you can throw an overstable disc into the wind and get it to fly like a stable disc, pretty much. So it's not really overstable. It should just go out and finish to the left. Also, for sidearm, if you throw sidearm, you want to go with more overstable discs most of the time, because you put a lot more speed and torque on the disc on the sidearm than you do with the backhand. Also, for overhead shots, you're going to throw like tomahawks or thumbers and stuff like that. Usually people use a very overstable disc for that as well. And also hyzer shots, where rather than giving it a hyzer angle, you can even just throw it with a little hyzer or even throw it flat, and it'll go out and finish to the left naturally. Also, you can release it with an anhyzer angle and force it to go right for a little while, and then once it slows down, it'll fight back to the left, and that's kind of another way you can gain distance. A flex shot, you can gain distance that way, or just work your way through, kind of snake your way through some fairways and stuff like that. So, a stable disc would be something like this. Like a buzz is a pretty stable disc, meaning that it's not really overstable, where it's not really cutting hard to the left. It's not understable, where it's turning much at all. It's really just holding the angle that you put it on. So a lot of people like to use stable discs most of the time and just give it, the right angle, the angle depending on where they want it to go. I like to throw on a hyzer, so I tend to throw over understable discs a lot, because I like that little bit of turn to pop it up and go straight. Now, there are definite factors that change the way these discs are meant to fly, and you look at the numbers and stuff, and then sometimes it can be kind of confusing because they're not flying the way that you think they should be based on the numbers. I wanted to go over some of those factors for you in this video. One would be plastic type. Discs in different plastics are going to fly differently. This one is an Elite X. It has more glide, and it'll hold the line. It's a little more understable, and so it'll hold a turnover pretty well. And this is in FLX or Flex plastic, ESP Flex plastic. So it's actually more stable. It doesn't want to turn much at all. It just wants to go out and finish strong to the left. So even though they're both buzzes, Discraft buzzes, they fly differently based on that. The other thing is the shape of the flight plate. See how this one's kind of flat? It's almost a little bit indented. And then this one is more rounded on top, or dome shaped. Generally, discs with flatter tops will be more overstable. Discs with bubbles on top will be less stable or more understable, but that can kind of be different. That's not always the case, but most of the time it's a pretty safe bet. With some high-speed drivers, the domey ones are actually more stable, but generally that's the case. The other one is weight. Even though these are both soft magnets, they're both beat up to the same degree. This one is heavier than this one, so it's more overstable, and this one being lighter is a little bit more understable. So this one will finish stronger to the left, it'll hold up in the wind a little bit better, and this one will turn a little bit more to the right and glide straighter for longer, so I like this one for longer putts. This is my new magnet, by the way, guys. Sweet Score, old school 4-chain magnet. Got it after my recent in the bag video. The other one is just condition. This one is more beat up than this one, even though they're the same plastic, same disc, same weight. This one is more beat up. It's got more dings and stuff on the edge than this one does. This one's much more fresh, so it's much more stable. This one will turn a lot more and usually come back. This one will just kind of go straight and finish to the left. So, lots of information to throw out there for you guys. I was trying to keep it kind of short, even though it's 15 minutes isn't really that short, but it's a lot of information to get out there in one video, so bear with me. If you guys have any questions about this or any other disc golf topic, as always, feel free to get in touch with me and I'll get right back to you. Thanks for watching, guys. Cheers.